Anti-Society, welcome back to the Anti-Social Planet, and today we're getting to more Tower of God, and it looks like we're gonna get a showdown between Bam and Daniel, and I honestly don't know how that's gonna turn out. I want to believe that Bam will end up on top, but I honestly don't know. I don't know how this is gonna go. Maybe it could go completely sideways. I'm like, oh, obviously they're gonna end up on the Hell Train, but what does that entail, right? Will they end up on it close enough to the car where Rachel and the rest of them are? Are they going to end up on one of the further cars because they weren't quite there in time and we're going to have to go through this whole train to actually reconnect with Rachel? Are they going to continue to miss her, have her be just out of reach for Bum as he continues on this journey? I don't know. Honestly, is Daniel even going to be part of it? I don't know, but things definitely getting more intense as the clock continues to tick down, and it makes me nervous about the kinds of decisions that are going to be made in this very tight time constriction and what that's going to mean for Bob. Is he going to end up on this train basically by himself because he's just going to have to make a split-second decision? I don't know, but let's get into the chapters and find out at least some of the information. All right, Bob, what are we going to do? Yep, the name Rachel has been dropped. Bam is going to be making some impulsive decisions. Is he making the connections? He's, oh, you're that one. Strange to be calling him Violet, given that I feel like Rachel might have called him Bam. We already know that people don't recognize him, given the number of people that were like, yeah, I'm definitely Violet, fear me. And I'm like, we're gonna pick a fight, aren't we? He's just like, oh, I see who you are. You're famous, you're powerful. He's gonna have to pick a fight. He's gonna have to know, right? How powerful he really is. Yep, see, having a match. Yep, they both can get the control. I mean, do you really need the controller? I'm just saying, look, I know they're a team put together, loyalty or whatever, but you got past the Guardian. You can just keep going. You don't need the remote. You need to stop the Guardian. The Guardian's not the one fighting you right now. Does that make me heartless? Maybe. Look, I'm just being practical. We're on the clock. Good transition. I love the blurred line work in this too, of Run being in motion. He's not gonna want to hear that he can't do something on his own. He's gonna take that personal. Does anyone have a plan? I was just like, I don't think anyone has a plan at this point. I think that we're just going on instinct. He's, yeah, pretty sure. Probably. He doesn't need to reserve any of his energy for the actual competition at this point. I know that getting onto the Hell Train is still part of the tests and stuff, right? But if you need a Hail Mary, sometimes you just gotta go for it. We're not gonna throw him? I mean, worked before. Also, why didn't you throw the tiny one? I guess because they know each other, but I feel like Daniel's just here for a good time. Honestly. Okay, I think part of it is because of what was left on the Hell Train. So there is an actual objective here. But I think most of the time it's just like, I don't know, that sounds fun. Because so many of the really powerful people in the tower, they're all looking for that novelty, right? We've had it with Lady Yudi before where she's just like, that sounds interesting, right? Or Udik, right? He's, oh, you're interesting, you're intriguing, right? We have all these powerful people who are like drawn to Bam not because of just his power, but because he is something interesting and different and he breaks the rules of the tower, and that in and of itself is entertaining. Yep, they're waiting for her, so you're gonna lose your time if she ends up getting up those stairs. True. It does seem like a voluntary fight is better than chasing them down and hoping you meet up with them before they get to the train, right? Yep. Ooh, I love how they both, just like a blur, they're both gone. I don't know, going up against a guide seems like she might not be able to get away as well. I find it interesting too, Bam going for the fist, more like blunt force, whereas Daniel going for the Shinsu, right? Because Bam is trying not to use parts of his power because he's, I don't know if I can control it or if I can manage it properly because it's still new to him. Yep, Bam's gonna be able to keep up a little bit better than you might expect. Yep, are we gonna pick a different path? Not one way, right? I'm assuming we're gonna find something else to catch up with her. See, he's just having a good time. Unlike Bam, who's, I have better things I should be doing right now. I don't know if you can turn in the title. So many people have so many plans for Bam that I'm like, I don't know if you just saying no thanks is gonna be good enough. People have so many plans within plans for Bam in particular that I don't know how much say he has at this point. Yeah, my point. Oh, you think you would just turn something in? Prince, okay. Is it a translation thing? Because the only other person we've had Prince attached to was Wangnan, who we know has some kind of connection with Fook, Jihad. I know those are opposing forces, so it cannot be like both simultaneously. Interesting. Putting that away. I want to know if it's a translation thing though, because sometimes the translations are like a little bit weird. I love all the blur motion. The fact that the characters, because they've gotten to a point where they move so fast that there's just blurs at a certain point, or the little dust kicked up when they move. It's also a good time-saving thing to just be like, I don't need to actually clean up this drawing that much because it's not gonna be in focus anyway, or it's just gonna be this little smudge where they used to be. Yeah. He's holding back, right? Is he actually weaker, or is it because he's putting a restraint on his abilities and his power? He is. Ooh, did he copy the ability? Did he throw it back at him? Yep. He's a fast learner. Yep. Bom's a bit of a copycat, so you're gonna have to be a little more creative if you want to keep ahead of him. Yep, you've already taught him something new. Oh, is he crazy or is he just very observant and good at what he does? Yep. He's a chameleon. I also love the smile here. I know that he creeps me out because the smile and stuff and he's just having fun, but I think it really shows the kind of power that Bum has, like how impressive he is when he really starts to dig into what he's capable of, because he does know all of these different techniques. He does know all of these different ways of fighting because he's fought so many different people, and he picks up on things and he tries them and figures them out really quickly, which means that at this point he's accumulated so much knowledge from all these people because people want to fight him, right? People want to engage in combat with Bum because they can sense how powerful he is, or because of his connections to other people, or because he ends up being like, I need to get here and you're in my way, so I guess we're fighting, right? Bum's fought a lot of people, so he's picked up on so many different skills and techniques that at this point he knows so many and he mixes them together, and people are like, no one who was actually trained in that particular technique would be mixing that with this technique or that technique. But because Bum doesn't have that formal training or the discipline associated with that he's just, I'm gonna mix them all together and see what works. I'm gonna throw everything into the pot, see what comes out the other side, right? It must be so fascinating to see what he's like in actual combat, like the mixture of all those things, because you won't know what to expect because you're like, okay, we're not sticking to just this technique or just this technique, because what all does he know, right? You can't be like, oh, this is a fighter from this culture or from this particular background in learning fighting skills. It makes him really difficult to predict and keep up with. All right, Daniel, you're gonna have to keep up. You're gonna have to switch things up. Maybe teach him something new. Be careful what you teach him though. Ooh, we heard him. I don't know if he's gonna like that. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Totally different things that people would not mix if they actually knew those different techniques or disciplines or whatever. Yep. Ah, interesting. Yep. Look at the determination. Look at our boy. He's grown so much. I'm so proud of him. He's willing to get smacked around because it means he's gonna become stronger on the other side, which I think says a lot about his journey, right? Of every time that he deals with some kind of block or obstacle, he's constantly learning new things from it and like adapting. And I think that's like, calling him a chameleon I think is so apt of who Bum is, that he is constantly evolving and changing and adapting to the new environments that he's in a way that some other people just can't. They cannot get out of their own beliefs or their own experiences, and they make the wrong predictions, right? They get stuck in the predictability of what they think is supposed to happen or like what is comfortable for them. And Bum is like, he started as a blank slate and he's like, I've literally never been comfortable or wanted to be where I was. So he's always just adapting and changing and needing to have that constant ability to adapt to where he is, because he doesn't have the comfort of being somewhere that is safe and predictable and comfortable, right? It's definitely interesting to see that manifest in the way that he fights and stuff. Oof. It's like a barbecue. It's one way to describe it. So he's a barbecue. Okay, so we're gonna be able to withstand the attack, hold him in place maybe, so we can sneak past. We're gonna see. It's like I was saying before, if we have to trust each other because the alternative is failure. I guess this is what we're betting on. Yup. We're just gonna have to try, right? Hail Mary. Is he gonna go full power though? Is that what we're gonna get from Ron? Are we also trying to stop one of them? Ooh, yeah we are. Like we're getting the spots on his cheeks. Come on, Tycoon. You got this. I believe in you. Oof, good transition. I love all the transitions between the fights, of almost this stark, really jarring shift between them, because I think one, it does a really good job of speeding up the pacing, and two, it's showing how jarring all of this chaos and conflict is. Yeah, we're fighting an ignition weapon, right? Good question. They seem to fall into the hands of people who definitely shouldn't have them. Okay, so we got some, I don't know, belief systems backing up why we're here. It's probably some kind of spirit entity, given what other ignition weapons are like. Are we having all this exposition because Bodo's gonna have this sword at the end? I don't know, I just feel like the sword's gonna end. Now there's a story. I feel like the sword's gonna stay around. He does have a good point of being like, so you just met this person and now you're using this very sacred artifact from your homeland as a way of battling people on that person's behalf? Again, what is so special other than the manipulation? The wording of him just being like, why? Why does this person matter so much? You've just met her. You're going through all of this to help Bomb and you've just met him. Seemed a little hypocritical. He's thanks for all the info. Now I understand what's going on. Thanks for the exposition. I get it now. I don't know about that. He's been doing a pretty good job of reading your sword's moves. Yep, now it understands. Understands the motive. It understands that there's two entities, which is probably what was throwing him off before, right? Him being like, I can't read this movement or this fighting style. Probably because there's the person wielding the sword, and then because it's an ignition weapon, there's also like their entity within the weapon. So there's two consciousness that are part of the decision. And he was like, I don't understand how these two things are like intertwining to make those movements. And now that he's got his exposition dump of what this weapon is, he's, oh, okay, now I can figure it out. So maybe we did get the exposition just for him to be like, oh, this is my ability. What I am as a swordsman is being able to understand the intentionality of a weapon and its movements. Yep. It's true. He did survive the Hell Train before. Not only has he been on the Hell Train before, he survived it. He ain't just nobody. Ooh, dang. It like ended up a lot more brutally than I thought it would, but again, rode the Hell Train and survived, so what do we expect in terms of character? Impressive though. I like getting this kind of them split up so you can really see their abilities and they're not like tripping over each other, because when you have a group of people who are as powerful as this group is, it can be a little bit difficult to have everyone's abilities shine and like really see what they're capable of, because if they can rely on each other and team up, they don't need to go all out because they have someone to back them up. I do getting this separation so we can really see what people are capable of now if we push them the right way. Interesting couple of chapters there to really read into the power set of people here, and I think also Bomb, right? Because we haven't had a chance to really analyze everything that he's capable of, how much he's progressed so far since this story started, right? We had it at the end of the workshop battles, but it's been a little bit from that, and he's definitely had a step up in his particular set of abilities and his power levels because of like all of the stuff that went down with the needle and stuff, right? Getting to see how he's progressed since then, and even though he's not using the needle itself as an actual weapon within the fight, it's still something that has changed the way that he fights and like how strong he is at the base level, and mixing that with his ability to copy other people's abilities. Every person that he interacted with during the workshop battles and since then has colored who he is and how he's gotten to this point, right? He's leaning in to those abilities, and the more that he fights, the more experience he has in combat, the stronger he's going to be because of his ability to copy other people and take their techniques into his own. And he's like a contradiction, right? Because he doesn't have the same set training of other people who become experts in specific martial arts or techniques is because they've spent so much time learning. That's like their focal point, right? They're zoned into that specific technique, and Bomb learns things really quickly from copying them, so he doesn't need to put in that same time and energy into a single technique, which means that he can learn a bunch of them and start mixing them together because he understands so many and can be creative with them in a way that I think other people who are stuck within that discipline can't really. So he has that unpredictability, but he also has this, I don't know, intimidation of like, how much do you show of your own ability to him when he can just take the punch and then learn it on his own, right? You're literally giving someone your power when you fight with Bomb. Interesting to see how he's evolved, even though he isn't using the needle itself. He's still holding his own and showing that he isn't just the power scaling of his character. He's also skills and time and devoting energy into specifically seeking out martial artists and learning those techniques. He has put in the time and energy to train himself. It isn't just that he's inherently more powerful that he's gotten to this point, right? I like getting to see that. I like getting to see Bodo and the other characters showing what they're capable of and how their techniques work and why they've gotten this far and why they've been like on the Hell Train and lived to tell the tale. Great to see them separated out so that we can explore those abilities, and in the time crunch as well, all of them being like, I don't have time to play around. I have just enough time to figure out how to defeat you, and then I have to go for like KO, right? It has to be quick because they don't have the time to be dealing with this. I like getting to just see the caliber of people that are at this point in the tower and how they're adapting to the situation of the pressure of it and how it's really bringing out those skill sets, because it's not play for them. Daniel might be just having a fun time, but the rest of them are like, we have places to be and people to demand answers from, in my opinion. So it is a really interesting framework to really just push this forward and show that it isn't going to be the same kind of exploration of certain elements that we've had in previous arcs, because they really don't have the time here and they can't stop to think about things and strategize in the same way. So I like getting to see some of the power scaling that's going on and some of the techniques as well, and how everyone has their own thing. So I like seeing them being pushed in the right way and what that leads to. So I hope you enjoyed reading that along with me. You can click this playlist to go and see my previous reactions, or you can subscribe to me the next time I post a Tower of God video, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.